So you and I just spoke a bit about how the war in Ukraine has actually influenced quite a bit of the development in the defense industry. Can you talk to me a bit about that evolution?
Indeed, unfortunately, a situation that happened in 2014 and a situation of aggression we faced from our neighbor country, we were forced to invest and to invest people and workforce and activity into new developments in the military sphere, because most of our products were quite outdated and our military was not ready to counteract a very equipped and powerful army. And at the same time, we had to find growth points for defense industry, to find methods, solutions, technologies and products where we can at first provide to our military and second provide to the world community, and sell it, to work with partners and to bring currency to Ukraine and develop our own technology and our own military industry further.
So it was a matter of ensuring you had the equipment you needed, but also had the revenue flowing in to develop it and expand, I suppose.
Because without capital investments for 23 years in capital assets of our factories, we had to find a solution how to invest and how to modernize the facilities and how to bring up with new ideas and with new equipment in order to catch up with world space and major trends in military industry.
Sure, and I know, needless to say, the situation that Ukraine was in required very specific defense systems. How were those being served by international allies, or did the internal development, was it required to suit the needs of the country?
Of course, the hybrid warfare is very specific, and I believe our military was not ready for such kind of warfare. And this raised many questions: how to find the weapon locating radars, and how to counteract the intensive UAV activity, how to get the oversight and situational awareness, how to understand what is going on behind the front line. And speaking about the allies, of course, we feel the support of our allies. At the same time, the bureaucracy takes some time. And when you have people dying every day in the front line, so we had to come up with solutions quickly and effectively in order to provide them with turnkey solutions to face the challenges they're facing.
And we spoke, it's been out there that some of the systems that were provided even from the United States didn't quite have the capabilities needed and were to some degree being hijacked away. Is that correct? Can you talk to me a bit about that?
Of course, we're happy with any kind of support, but at the same time, under the reports of our military guys, some of the equipment they have been using was not of the latest technology. Mm-hmm. So
then it is more vulnerable, I suppose.
Right.
Yes,
so
yes.
some of the technology we developed ourselves is better ones, actually.
Okay, that's terrific. So let's talk a bit about that technology that was developed. Where has most of the investment gone in terms of enabling Ukraine's own military, but also understanding the requirements of allies where you could actually make revenue off of that?
As of now, we started off with UAVs. So my company specifically, we focused on that, and our goal was to find a solution of cost-effective UAV, which will be 1/3 of the price of Western analogs, conventional ones, and will perform same tasks and same missions as Western ones. So we will be able to fulfill the requirements of our own military.
Sure.
And we succeeded in that pretty much. Second stage, which we're working on now, is the development of munitions. So historically we didn't have manufacturing in Ukraine of conventional munitions, and now our factories are focused on development in this sphere. So the missiles, the shells, mortar shells and artillery shells and so on.
Right.
And of course cartridge factories. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Looking at unmanned specifically, I know something the United States is even struggling with right now is we focus so long on surveillance. there's now a need for unmanned to almost transition into more of a combat role or, active in terms of combat situations. Have you taken unmanned to that level yet?
Not yet, but we're close. We're developing. This is the second stage. So now we have the platforms we're using for reconnaissance surveillance. But speaking about the attack platforms and combat platforms, we're now in the development stage. Okay. It requires massive investment. It's totally different technology. The payload and the fire control system and the communication channels is totally different. It's very complicated. And also what we worked on and what we will be talking about a bit later, the land systems, the unmanned combat multi-role land system we call it Phantom, and which is here on the exhibition, which is already undergoing the fire and field tests within the Ukrainian Special Forces.
Okay, yes, and that is, even more in its infancy than the aerial systems. It's amazing. Okay.
So it's a heavily armed platform which is capable of delivering sufficient payload and firepower and delivering of ammunition and also evacuation of wounded and a number of humanitarian missions. So it's indeed a multi-role platform which we believe and our military officers see will be of a huge use on the battlefield and in specifically in hybrid warfare conditions.
So where does Ukraine stand now? You mentioned that, in the beginning, back just really a few years ago, there was so much need to update military systems. Do you still have a ways to go? Where does it stand?
We're historically, and we're keeping up with that, within 10 major military exporters in the world. But we switched drastically the product. So now it's more innovative products, more R&D, it's more cooperation, it's more made-to-order solutions, it's more development under the requirements of our customers. So something which has higher intellectual value and less or actually none of stock and old stock of Ministry of Defense.
And how has the international response been? Have you seen significant growth in terms of expansion, demand of these systems?
We faced a huge requirement in import substitution, so we were dependent on spare parts and technologies and equipment of a neighboring country. Of course, we stopped military technical cooperation back in 2014 with that country, so we had to immediately replace all of that equipment and spares with either local one, indigenously produced, or Western one, Western types. So this is something we're in process now, and all of our factories is very much into this kind of work. And immediate result we can see already. So within just a little bit more than 1 year in cooperation with Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, we've designed, developed and manufactured the new aircraft Antonov 132, which already uses the Pratt & Whitney engines, the Honeywell avionics and other Western conventional systems.